Okay, so this video is a ramble. It's going to just tie into the video that I just recorded. I don't know if I'll post them on the same day, but it's going into this functional patterns thing. I don't know if anyone's into weightlifting, bodybuilding, CrossFit, or anything active in the gym. I'm assuming you would be, because I think everyone has at least one thing, and if you don't, you should. If I know a lot of people who've subscribed to this channel are kind of been attracted to some of the mental health type videos, and to quickly touch on that, the gym will obviously help with that. So if you're not doing that, I would add into that. Not that I'm like a super successful guy, so I don't know if you'd want to listen to my advice, but it's a basic advice. Anyone will give you that advice, is to at least have something physical exercise it in your life. But yeah, so I was on Instagram and I was scrolling through, and I do that too much. I kill way too much time on Instagram. I got to work on that. But I came across something called functional patterns. I don't know if anyone's heard of this. And it seems kind of like these isolation movements that are very different than bodybuilding and traditional CrossFit or anything like that. And they're basic. It's not even like like I don't know if you've seen the sledgehammer on the tire thing. Some of it's kind of like that, but they have this bar hooked up to the cables, and they're just doing like a torso like rotation, and they're doing like these, I guess not even like I know when you lay on your back and you do the reverse squat and you lift your legs up, they're kind of doing like that when they're standing. They're doing like pistol squats. I think they were doing kettlebells. I'm not completely sure. It almost kind of looked like a weighted yoga kind of type thing, but not really, because they were kind of also like doing like throwing motions, and they were like it almost seemed like basic like rehab stuff that someone would be into if they broke their leg or were recommended this through physio. It didn't really seem like an intense workout. And I guess the doctrine behind it would be that these are just kind of these small moves that you'd use throughout the day, and they're kind of just going through the motions of them to make sure that there's healthy blood flow in these areas. I think that's at least what I'm getting from it. And what I don't understand is this rehydration thing that they're talking about. They had this post that said deadlifts dry out your muscles or something, and that their program rehydrates the muscle through full ranges of motion. Blood flows throughout the whole body, and through these isolation movements of powerlifting and bodybuilding, you only get blood flow to certain areas, and that doesn't hydrate your whole body or your muscle fibers or something. I guess that's the gist of what I got. I don't know if that's accurate. I don't know if anyone watching this has done functional patterns, if they have had success from it, if they want to correct me on any of that. It kind of seems like a fad to me. I know CrossFit came along, and CrossFit's kind of going away a little bit now, or at least it's kind of just tucked into certain groups. It's a bit more niche. It had an explosion at first, and then it kind of shrunk a bit, and now it's a bit of a niche somewhere. And I think this is kind of the new explosion of fad, and that and also hot and cold, the saunas and the ice baths are a big fad right now, which there's benefits to it. Obviously, there's been scientific benefits, and that's another thing with this functional patterns. On their Instagram thing, functional patterns said not to do the sauna and not to do the ice bath, because it doesn't rehydrate your muscles, or it blocks proper blood flow or something. And I'm skeptical of all this, but I'm willing to hear it. If someone can post a comment describing it, I'm willing to hear you out. And if this is the case, then it kind of brings me to the question of why even do functional patterns at all, if you can just go skiing and rock climbing and cycling and things that are these functional patterns. If you just get into a tennis league or a soccer league, then you wouldn't need the gym at all. You wouldn't need functional patterns at all. So I don't understand that part of it, because you'd be doing these functional patterns through a sport anyway. So I don't understand that part of it. Maybe the rehab physio element. I know that I've been doing kind of like very limited restricted yoga on a few body parts that tend to get more tight than the rest of me. I went to physio like 5 years ago with lower back pain, and they told me basically it's because my quads were too tight and my hamstrings were too weak. So I've, in that period, strengthened my hamstrings quite a lot, and I've stretched out my quads. And during some times when I was doing gaming, I don't game anymore, but I was doing a standing desk that helped lengthen or re-lengthen the quads, and I haven't had that back pain as bad. I still get it probably once a month, but it was continuously every single day for like 3 years before I went to physio and got these recommendations. So what I've been doing in that regard is I've been laying on my back doing glute raises. I've been doing hip flexor work. I've been doing planks. I've been doing reverse squats. I've been doing hamstring curls. I've been doing lower ab work, leg raises. This all strengthens core, hamstrings, glutes. And then I've been doing limited yoga poses that do the front part of my leg, the quad, as well as a few basic other yoga stretches. And I've been trying not to overdo the flexibility, because I think if you do too much flexibility work, you do tend to lengthen and weaken muscle fibers. I think there's a study on that. It might be bro science, but I kind of noticed that in the gym. And I know the idea behind the rollers and all that is to actually tighten up the muscles so you can lift more. That's one of the original powerlifting bro science things that I think were proven. So I could be wrong on some of this stuff. Functional patterns could be wrong on some of this stuff. It goes back and forth. There's people saying bodybuilding's the best, people saying powerlifting's the best, some people saying weightlifting, some people CrossFit, some people functional patterns, some say don't even do any of this. Just go out, live your life, do some skiing, do some snowboarding if you like this or that. And I don't know. I guess it's kind of like diets. Everyone has a diet that's going to be suited to them. So anyways, to make a long story short here, if anyone has recommendations about this or success stories about it, leave it in the comments. And if I was to use functional patterns, I'd probably be transitioning out of bodybuilding, weightlifting type exercises into more functional patterns to help me with other hobbies and to get into something like rock climbing or something like that. That's how I would see functional patterns being used and applied in my life. And I still would probably want to go to the gym and still do traditional bodybuilding exercises. And then maybe doing all of that would be overtraining. I don't know. There is a certain aspect I've found recently as well as today, that sometimes staying in motion helps you stay in motion longer. Like giving effort sometimes gets the ball rolling, and then you actually don't get tired. But if you sit around, you get tired. I found that's kind of true. It's definitely true when the sun's out. So yeah, that's kind of just my thinking. I'm just thinking out loud. It's like an open diary thing here, but I'm sure some people are getting tired of me repeating that part. But I want to make that clear. I'm just getting my thoughts out of my head, and if anyone has anything to add, because I am kind of curious about functional patterns. If it's bullshit, it's bullshit. If it's real, it's real, and I'm willing to try it. So where do I get started? If you're watching this and you've done it and had success, where do I get started? And I guess to close, I touched on rock climbing briefly. If someone's done rock climbing, where do I get started there? I guess a rock climbing gym, because then you don't got to commit to all the harnesses and spend all this money out first. Someone was talking about like some kind of drill, like a cordless drill that you drill the hooks into the rocks. I don't know if you could reuse someone else's hooks or if that would not be safe. So anyways, this is my video of this. I hope, as always, everyone is doing good. Hopefully this was coherent, because I kind of switched around a bunch and I kind of just blah 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 blah. But anyways, functional patterns, I don't know if it's bullshit or if it's legit, but I'm willing to try.